chess friends, I hope you are doing well. Today, I have a brand new chess engine called Alexa Chess AI, which has recently been published to compete in the Computer Chess Championship events. I played a marvelous game against her, and it was very tactical and wonderful. So, let's get started without wasting any time. I started the game with e4, and Alexa Chess played the French defense. After knight c3 and d4 occurred in the game, black could capture the pawn or play bishop b4, knight f6. But she chose bishop b4. After I played e5, it became quite evident that black had two main options, knight e7 or c5. Many players might consider c5 because it seems reasonable to push the pawn forward, and after a few moves and some bishop and knight exchanges, you may bring your queen to a5. These are some of the typical French defense variations you can employ, and there's nothing too serious about them. Alright, going back to the game, playing c5 was possible, but Alexa Chess chose knight e7. Noticing that I had an advanced pawn structure in the center, I decided to make a romantic move. Can you guess what I played? I played h4, illustrating the terror on the chessboard, where beauty and terror can coexist in the sublime game of chess. I wanted to open up my bishop and rook file, and Alexa Chess responded with c5. She wanted to bring out her knight, her queen, and put pressure on the center and on my knight. After a3, she didn't capture the knight, choosing instead to save the bishop for long-term benefits. When my knight moved, instead of playing development moves, Alexa Chess decided to castle kingside. This was a very risky decision because my bishop's diagonal was open, and I could push my pawns forward, like Alexander, to invade the kingside with my knight. The queen could also come to h5, that's why I decided to capture the pawn, and after she recaptured, we had knight to d7, putting pressure on my central pawns. At this point, I played h5, planning to play h6 on my next move to attack the pawn. The queen could also join the attack. Black cannot play g6 because I can consider bishop d3, attacking the diagonal. You have to be very careful in chess and in life. Every move and decision matters for your future. She played h6, and when I played g4, my pawn on e5 was crucial in dominating the center. My knight protected the pawn, and I threatened to push g5 with rook invasion on the g1 square. That was my plan. After queen c7, trying to attack the pawns, I played g5, attacking her pawn. Now, try to guess what black should play in this position. If you can find the defensive move, I'm sure you can also defend your own chess games. Capturing the pawn on g5 would be a very bad choice because I could consider h6, and of course, g6 might come to mind to protect the position, but after h7 and king moves, bishop takes g5 will attack the knight. If my bishop ever gets to f6, the position would be over. I'll bring a candle for the king and put him in his graveyard. The king will leave his body underground. Going back to the position, capturing the pawn on g5 was a very bad choice. That's why we had knight takes e5, trying to defend. I captured the pawn on h6, and Alexa Chess became very nervous, contemplating whether to capture with h takes g6 or play g6 again. However, g6 is a bad move because I can consider h6, forcing the king out. After the exchange, with the bishop attacking the knight, even if she captures my knight, I can recapture with my queen. Rook to g1 is possible, where my queen and rook could lead to a checkmate. Therefore, after f6, I can capture the knight, and after queen check, bishop to g5 followed by bishop h3 will take control over the king. The king will need to be hospitalized, and my queen nurse will give him a lethal injection. The king will fall, and the queen will inherit his kingdom by taking his fingerprint as a signature. Going back to the position, I discovered that playing g6 is a terrible idea. Even if you capture the pawn on h6, it won't matter because, after I capture it, the rook moves, and after rook check and bishop moves, the knight will be captured, then queen recaptures, and in a few moves, when bishop d3 comes, the bishop will use his 3-meter-long sniper to attack the king, who will be defeated in his countryside. The game will be over. Returning to the game, I realized that whether to capture the pawn or play g6, both moves are bad choices. It's like doing your hair for a date, but no matter how good your hairstyle is, your face will still be unattractive, and your date will bring no value to your appearance. In this position, she captured the pawn on c5, and I played knight h4. At this point, some players might think of capturing the unsupported knight on e5, but if you do, she can capture the c3 pawn. Attacking the king and rook simultaneously, when the bishop moves, she can capture my knight with check, and that position isn't favorable for me. So, going back to the game, I didn't capture the knight. I played knight to h4, where my rook ice cream could go to g1, making the king side icy for her. After the queen captured the pawn, the bishop moved, the queen moved, and after h6, g7 followed. You know what? You shouldn't capture the g7 pawn because my rook can go to g1, gaining access to the file. My bishop's diagonal is also open, where a discovered check could attack the black king. After the rook moves, you may say, it's an umbrella pawn, the g7 pawn, protecting my position, but no, fool. I can push my other pawn to h6, both soldiers together can lock the door and beat you in the room. How can you protect your position now? Alright, Alexa tried to save the king by putting him into a boat, and he goes there, threatening to go to g3 where it can support the pawn. After the knight moves, the bishop goes to d3, giving a check to the black king. What should you play in this position now? Think for a moment and find a defensive move that black should consider. If you dare to find f5, it's bad luck for you because my bishop can go to e3, and after some exchanges, the queen checks, the king moves, and rook to g8 tries to stop the pawns from being promoted. My queen can easily sweep into h5, where queen to g6 can arrive, but be careful, your knight is there. Even if you dare to capture the rook on a1, since the rook is hanging, why wouldn't you capture it? Chess players can be very greedy. If they find any unguarded pieces, they'll simply capture them. The same goes for children. If they find coins, chocolate or food, they immediately take it. That's innocence. After the knight goes to f3, threatening knight to g5 check. If the queen ever goes to f6, it doesn't matter because knight to g5 will arrive, attacking the black king. The black king will be paralyzed on the board, diminished, and the game will be over. He'll have to make his tombstone for resting his soul. So, going back to the original discovery, playing f5 is a very bad choice. That's why the king retreats to g8, and h7 can arrive on the board. g8 might also arrive if I ever get the chance to play that move. The bishop goes to e3, the queen moves, the king moves, and e5 immediately opens up the file for the bishop. The knight is as healthy as a gymnast on the roof of a 7th floor building. So, the rook goes to b1, and after d4, bishop g5 followed by e4 attacks the bishop. Here's a simple question for you. After rook to b3 kicks out the queen, and rook to b5, the queen moves. Here's another question: what should white play in this position? Look, the bishop is under attack and at the same time, I have two connected passed pawns that are going to become queens. What should white play? Think for a bit while I drink some water. At this point, capturing the pawn on e4 might seem like a good idea to many players, but it's a completely terrible move. I'm sure you didn't find it because after capturing the pawn on h6 and recapturing, she can immediately capture the rook on h3, checking my king, and my king will catch pneumonia in his heart. So, let me share an inspirational quote in sudden with you. The only way to achieve your dreams is to take action. Don't wait for opportunities, create them. You have the power to make anything happen. So, going back to the position, we discovered that capturing the pawn is a very bad choice. That's why I played a very cunning move, h6, checking the king. The king had to capture the pawn and then I captured the knight on e7. At this point, I'm going to promote to a new queen. That's why she had to capture the knight, and the queen had to capture it too. Then I played a fork with the knight on f5, opening up my queen's diagonal. You may ask, this dumb knight is captured by the bishop, so what's the point? Well, after rook takes bishop, you'll see that my two rooks are doing a great job. Now, the black king is facing malaria in his stomach. If black dares to capture the bishop on d3, I will simply capture the knight on g4, forcing the king to move. After the capture, the rook will go here, and rook to g5 will arrive. With the idea of playing rook g8, I can simply promote to a new queen, and it will be checkmate. Even if you give me a check, it won't matter because my king will move to safety, and the e4 square is well protected. The position will just be over for black. Just resign the game, leave, and get out of my house. Going back to the position, we discovered that capturing the bishop is a very bad choice. That's why Alexa moved her knight back to e5. After I gave her a check, she couldn't capture the pawn because rook to h5 would lead to a checkmate. That's why she had to play king h8. After my queen went to e6, I made a cunning move, rook to g8 check. I promoted to a new queen, but my queen was captured. It didn't matter because after queen to h5, the knight was vulnerable, and the knight couldn't move anywhere. Bishop to d5 could arrive with the idea of attacking the queen and the pawn on f7 with the rook. The position would be over for black. After f6, don't worry, I have f4 to kick the knight. Where should the knight go? Think about it. Even if the knight goes to his stall to sell some chess pieces and boards, the bishop can go to d5, putting the queen in a precarious situation. The game would be over. In this position, Alexa had to sacrifice her knight, and that's what happened in the game. In the end, I had an extra bishop, which made the game completely winnable for me. A few moves later, I slowly but surely won the game. Because I had the bishop, my pawn was one step away from promotion. I captured the rook. And later I even checkmated her. I hope you enjoyed the game. If so, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Wishing you all the best. Bye, take care and see you soon.